Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video.
All right, so I'm hearing good things about the possibility of De'Aaron Fox being on the move. I don't know if that's good if you're a Sacramento Kings fan, but for the teams that would love to improve their team, him being on the move not only means him being on the move, but the possibility of a massive trade that your team can get involved in to make some things happen. So that is what I see there. Any De'Aaron Fox trade would likely involve like 4 teams, in my opinion. Although there's no way to really gauge that would actually be how it goes. It's usually how it goes when big names and big salary is moved. De'Aaron Fox is somebody who's looking to maybe get an extension with the Sacramento Kings, and he's not happy there. They've been losing a lot lately, a whole lot lately, in some really messed up ways. And of course, my Lakers played him tomorrow, so we'll be doing a video on that in the morning. But I just think it's a damn good chance that he moves on. They fired Mike Brown today in Sacramento, which I didn't report on because I figured I'd talk about it in the game video that I'm going to be doing tomorrow. But yeah, that's something that can be said. He was fired today. For me, it's like I don't pay close enough attention to the Kings. Now that I've lived through the Darvin Ham era, I have a different approach to assessing things from afar. In the past, I'd run with the narrative. But the reality is when you're assessing a coach over the course of several years, those who are on the outside have an opinion based on what they're seeing, and those who are on the inside have an opinion based on what they're seeing, and I'm not on the inside. And I was with Darvin Ham, and I knew how different my opinion was to those who were just listening to people talk about it. So I reserve my opinion, but what I can say is when I did the little homework on the Kings that I did, since we played them twice over the last 7 days, what I did notice is that some of the stuff that was working in the 3-game winning streak, he inexplicably ran away from. You know, you got players on this team that have been boiling hot, apparently, seemingly did nothing wrong, and then all of a sudden are removed from rotation. And as I was listening to Kings announcers discuss that was one of the things that they brought up. So, you know, I just say that Mike Brown is somebody who coached the Lakers back in his heyday when he was younger. I'm sure he's grown a lot as a coach. My opinion of Mike Brown back then wasn't too good, but neither was my opinion of the roster he was coaching. And so that's really as much as I can say about that. But as far as De'Aaron Fox being on the move, obviously that's interesting news given the fact that if you're a Laker fan, you just heard your team 2 days ago say they're willing to, or rather, you heard from a reliable source, Shams, say that the Lakers are willing to give up 3 picks for a player to pair alongside Bron AD. Would I give up those 3 picks for De'Aaron Fox? I think De'Aaron Fox is the exact type of player I'd be willing to give up a lot for. Now, whether or not I think it's smart for the Lakers, who only have 3 picks, to give up 3 picks, isn't really... I'm not really comfortable giving up the only picks we have between now and 2030. I think that's... regardless if you're getting something back that really makes you happy right now, you're going to hurt for that later on. It's just a sacrifice. And it's a strong one. But what I can say is De'Aaron Fox, if he plays the way he's been playing and we're able to re-sign him upon his free agency, I think 2 years from now, he's somebody that you can feel great about him moving forward into the future. He's a young enough player to where you got another 10 years with him. Freak athlete as it pertains to his speed, score with the best of them, very good in the fourth quarter. The problem that I'm discovering is in listening to people talk about De'Aaron Fox, those who follow him closely, whom I've been listening to for the last 2 hours, they say he has a tendency to not show any heart, that there are times when it doesn't look like he cares. And I'd never heard of that in regards to De'Aaron Fox until today. But I listen to people when they are close to the team, as they are. This is a player they drafted. They know him as well as anybody. And when you hear stuff like that, and then you look at the mental makeup of the team that we have, it does give you some cause for concern. I never heard anybody say that about De'Aaron Fox. In fact, I always had a view of him from afar as the complete opposite. He certainly kicks the hell out of the Lakers behinds every time he sees them. He's one of the best players in fantasy you're going to find. Any team I have him on is usually in first place. De'Aaron Fox is one of the most underrated players in basketball. But if you pay attention to the fact that the Kings haven't been doing any consistent winning since he's been there, you may dock him for that. You look at the talent on the team around him and the fact that he can't lead them to a championship, you don't dock him for the championship aspect of it. But, into the playoffs and deep into the playoffs, it is something that you have to look at and wonder if he's a guy that you can count on past the LeBron James era. I think in this situation, based on the criticism provided, this is a good situation for him because you have two guys ahead of him on the pecking order. And what they've accused him of being is someone who not only doesn't have heart, but is somebody who's not a leader. And in listening to the conversations further, I saw some things that they were saying about his press conference that weren't too favorable. After the last game where he fouled Jaden Ivey on a 3-point play that ended up turning to a 4-point play on the free throw that cost him the game. And he essentially was asked, what happened on that play, and he essentially said something along the lines of, it doesn't matter. It's not going to make anybody feel better. And of course, people naturally want you to, fall on the sword, hold yourself accountable, blame yourself, say you're sorry. It makes them feel better, And De'Aaron Fox did not afford people that accountability. So, in the moment, maybe he just didn't want to relive it. Maybe in the moment, he didn't want to say, I didn't think I fouled that dude, and I'm about to say something that's going to ultimately get me fined. I think that might have been why he didn't want to say anything. Because it's not that he wasn't necessarily holding accountability, it's that he probably didn't believe he fouled him. And so, but that's neither here nor there. The point is there were a lot of Kings voices that were speaking, and that was their criticism, saying, this dude, he doesn't take accountability. And for a Laker team that had that issue with Darvin Ham, that's a tea leaf that makes me feel a little uncertain. If I'm going to give all of the picks that I have up and essentially say I'm not going to have no future with the exception of this player being on my team and hopefully somebody wanting to play with him after Bron and AD leave. Or whatever I trade AD for, maybe hopefully some of it can be very good so that this can be a team that doesn't have to rebuild in order to compete after the Bron era. I don't know how long AD wants to play. So that would determine a lot. I think if AD wants to be here, I can imagine the Lakers would keep him. And if we have De'Aaron Fox, that might be a way forward for them to feel like they can win. At least make the playoffs consistently, stay relevant. But is that going to be enough for either one of those players? Are we going to want to pay De'Aaron Fox the money he's going to want? Does it make sense to do so after LeBron's gone? I think this move is great for the next 2 years, but I'm not giving up 3 picks for a player that could potentially walk at the end of the contract. So, there's a lot of studying to be done. Obviously, I'm just listening to people who are representing the Kings as talking heads, who are in the middle of a 5-game losing streak where there's a lot of blame to go around. So maybe that has a lot to do with their tone and what they're saying. But at the end of the day, I have to listen. And if that's what they're criticizing him for, I look at the mixture of ingredients here as it pertains to the mental stuff that the Lakers often struggle with on the court. The motor issues and the, losing to the same team over and over again, and some of the stuff that we've seen. I don't know that someone who has those traits fit here. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want that player on my team in a nutshell, but it does mean I have to take into account what I have, what my problems are, and whether or not that player can be the solution to those problems. Especially if I'm going to give up a substantial, if not harsh amount to receive him on my team. So that's pretty much my point of view. It's uncertain for me if De'Aaron Fox is the right guy, man. I definitely thought he was before listening to these talking heads today, but I've been listening to these people for 2 hours, and they don't really have a lot of great stuff to say about De'Aaron Fox. His intentions in holding himself accountable really rubbed them the wrong way, and furthermore, they don't think he's a leader. So they'd love to see him with an A1 player, for which we have 2. May fit in right. But if the intention is to have him stay past that tenure, then maybe we're setting ourselves up for something that he's not really best for. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.